record and video has been added to CMT worldwide. And CMC and the Country Network worldwide. We're now in 440 million homes.
Wow. Well, you're going to have to make sure you get in at the end. And the other thing I always say to people is make sure, and I don't think I've forgotten for over 2 years, but make sure you get your social media in. Don't be afraid to shout me down and say, and finally, Nick, blah, blah, blah. There you go. So
I am definitely going to take and click you on Facebook and all the other ones and make sure that you guys are there.
Perfect, and thank you. And you'll get a copy of the show and a link to when it's on at different. And I'll convert some times to your times as well. So there we go. So let's start then, guys. 3, 2, 1. We are recording, and now on Chatterbox UK, we're just lucky enough to welcome Stevie, but also the Nashville Roadhouse Live. Hello, guys. How are you?
What's up, Nick? Good. How are you?
Great. Yes. Now I've got no technical problems. I'm very pleased. And I'm very pleased to see you all. So, right. I think Stevie will be the man to start with. Stevie, how did it start? Are you the man to ask?
Well, how did we get started? How I got started was I grew up around music. My dad was one of the side guys for Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs back in the day. And he moved over to the late, great Eddie Arnold, playing guitar for Eddie Arnold. And so it was way cool. So I've been around music my whole life, myself and my brothers. And so I heard a lot of country music, we listened to a lot of rock and roll music. And throughout the years, I got a record deal in 1993, and I started touring all over the world. I was overseas in Europe a lot, actually, with Merle Haggard, Freddie Fender, and all those guys. And we played everywhere from the UK to Scotland, Ireland, all of it. So it was way cool, man. I loved it.
So, Stevie, you were you supporting Merle Haggard and the likes of that, or were you actually part of their group, their band, or whatever you want to call it?
I was the opening for those guys. I was opening the shows for all those guys, and they had me as the baby act. If you remember, they used to call us baby acts, and I was being booked by world-class talent and then Buddy Lee Attractions, and they just bounced me from artist to artist, and I would get out there and open their shows and get the crowd pumped up and ready for them to take the stage.
Fantastic. And I take it you guys, hence the name, from somewhere around Nashville anyway, I guess.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. The concept actually was born, we're in Branson right now. So we're live with you here from Branson, Missouri, which is the live entertainment capital of the world. And we're here, and we came up with the concept Nashville Roadhouse Live because all of us have played Nashville. I've resided in Nashville. They have resided in Nashville, and we played not only with each other in the same in my band, but also for other. And each one of these guys, which I'll introduce to you in just a moment, have all played with big names in the music business. And you'll be surprised. It's really interesting.
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. So, right. So, okay, you told us about sort of supporting the likes of Merle Haggard and that in Europe as well. Now, there's still a step, isn't there, before you get to the Nashville Roadhouse Live and the guys that I see in front of me tonight? It's still a big step, and a big step to the Billboard and big step to this release. So fill in the gap so we can then talk about Nashville Roadhouse Live and speak to the guys individually, please. Just that big step, please.
I was on the road for about 9 years, traveling all over the world, playing music with the likes of, like I said, Merle and Martina McBride, and the list goes on and on. I did all that. Had my band, a different band, but had the Stevie Lee Woods band. And those guys all kind of went their separate ways. I got out of the music business for some time because my family got ill. And they started, different brothers and sisters, everyone dying around me. That's just the reality of it. And I was on the road 50 out of 52 weeks a year. So I was never home. I was home 2 weeks a year. And I decided to get out of it. I got back into it in 2010 with a record called It's Only Money. And then we started. These guys I've been playing with this guy. Right next to me to my right is my lead guitar player and music director, Mark Boyd. And I've been working with Mark for about 10 years, and Rick about the same thing. Rick is a legend. I'll tell you about when you're ready. I'll tell you about all these guys. But,
absolutely.
kind of fills in the gap up a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned Mark, so let's hear. Hello, Mark, and let's.
How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great.
Right.
Very pleased to be seeing you now. Mark, how about you? How did you get to where you are in front of me tonight? What inspired you? You know, who did you like? Who have you played with?
I played with Freddie Fender back in the 80s. Jim Ed Brown, a lot of the old traditional country artists. I worked with a lot of those.
Yeah.
The latest one was Mo Bandy. I was with him for about 12 years.
Wow.
So I got to work with a lot of other artists also, working with him. And I ended up here in Branson, ran into Stevie, and this is where we ended up.
Here we are
right here.
And you mentioned that's cool. Rick, I think you mentioned.
Rick's over here.
Hello, Rick. Hello, welcome.
Rick's played everywhere in the world. I'll let him tell you about it. He's played and performed with so many. He got his start, actually your professional start with the Darlings, as we know them, right?
It was actually worked with the Blackwood Singers, which was part of the old original gospel Blackwood Brothers quartet. I got with them, and then I went to work for Earl Scruggs, which notorious banjo player. Foggy Mountain Breakdown on the Bonnie and Clyde. I don't know if you ever saw any of that, but that was his claim to fame originally. Then I got to work with a group called the Dillards. And we were actually over in England and London in 1981 and 82. And I was telling the guys the other day, I'm on a what we call a coffee table book over there. It's called The History of Country and Western Music by John Highworth. And on the cover, if you ever find it, it's a big book. And we're the centerfold in this book. And we're on stage at Wembley. It was the Wembley Festival.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
A lot of fun. Well, we got to play with some great artists. The show we were on the first year was with Jerry Lee Lewis.
Wow.
Waylon, Mel Tillis, Emmylou Harris, and Chris Christopherson was closing the show after we got done. So that was right after A Star Is Born was a big hit. So he was on that.
Emmylou Lewis. Oh, did I love that girl? Wow, wasn't she? I think I still do. But yeah, she was gorgeous.
She still looks good for her age.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything bad, Emmylou.
No. Neither am I, Emmylou, trust me.
I heard her sing the other night, and she still got it. She still got it.
That's cool.
Such a big crush on her back in the day, you know.
Yeah.
You know, this guy right next to me, I'll introduce, because I know your audience can't see, but you can see him. He's right next to my left. He's my drummer, and he is drummer of the year 2021 in Branson, Missouri, which happens to be the live performance and music capital of the world, ladies and gentlemen. And this is Paul Oney. Paul's worked with everybody as well. I'll let him tell you all about it.
Wow. Yes, please, Paul. Who have you played with, and who inspired you, Paul, to
Since they can't see me, I like to start out by saying I was a centerfold too, but it wasn't a coffee table book.
Yeah, they turned me down that one. Very good. So yeah,
no, just happy to be with this great band. I started out a gospel background, being a preacher's kid and all that, and just worked with a lot of Grand Ole Opry guys over the years. And
who's your most recent one?
Been here, well, Leroy Van Dyke I've been with for about almost 20 years now, with country gold shows or it's package shows of a lot of different Grand Ole Opry stars, from anywhere from 3 to 12 acts on road shows, and just keep on keeping on. I'm not quite the chatterbox like the name implies.
I have my moments. I'm not used to having five, so I'm a little bit. If it's 1-on-1, we have one more to.
We have one more all the way to my far right. This guy also, boy, is he a talker. He's my keyboard. He's my keyboard player, and he's an award-winning keyboardist. And his name is Lyman Clark. Lyman, hi.
Brilliant.
What did I tell you?
And yes, who inspired you? And how did you meet up with Stevie?
Well, I moved to Branson in 2000 and I've played in a lot of shows here. I'm from West Texas and I've been in a lot of different bands that warmed up big acts like Judd's, Alabama, Colin Ray, et cetera, et cetera. And I moved here in 2000 and they hired me for Stevie's band last year. And I was enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah,
It's a lot of fun.
Special. These guys are a great band, Nick. They are a great band. There's not, when you come to our show, you're going to hear our records, of course, but you're going to hear everything from George Jones to Aerosmith and all the country in between. So you're going to hear it all. So we try to hit the full demographic of everybody. Is what we try to do.
Sure, and of course, if the audience is up doing their bit and whatever, I mean, I dare say it's like me DJing. I used to do club DJing, and you can make it go with the flow, and I'm sure you do much the same, and probably the audience in a small back town somewhere could be 40 years older than the average audience in the next city or something, So I guess it works much the same way as me sort of DJing and doing festivals, I guess.
Right. No, you're right on it. You're right on it.
Yeah.
And it's these guys are a pleasure to work with every night. And it's just it's easy. It's a pleasure. I mean, you can get up there and have fun, and that fun radiates to the crowd that's out there. So it's so cool.
Stevie, tell me, so what year was the Nashville Roadhouse Live actually formed? How far back does it go to what I see tonight?
This actually 2 years now, 2 years ago.
We formed out of COVID, didn't we?
Yeah, we formed.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and then we were playing gigs because we were touring, and some of the guys were playing with me at that time when we were doing the gigs, and some of the guys are brand new, like Lyman and stuff. So a couple of years, and we were formed during the COVID and put the thing together, and it's been a blessing. It's been a real plus.
Cool. So so we go back just before the COVID, and right. Is it something where you come from, like you guys before the group was formed? Did you sort of like know of each other beforehand, or did you have to advertise at any point, Stevie, for a drummer or a keyboardist, or was it? How did it all happen?
All these guys, I've worked with all these guys throughout the years, and probably the last 10 or 15 years, except Lyman.
Mark and I worked together with Mo Bandy.
Yeah.
So we all have worked together for about 10 or 12 years.
Nice.
Rick and I, probably 16 years. Mark and I, 10 or 12 years. And you and I, 10 years, a long time.
So it was far removed from an advert in Variety like the Monkees did then. It was nothing like
Yeah, exactly.
Respect to Mike Nesmith, of course. No, I do. No, that's brilliant. You two 12 years and you two 10 years. I think it's absolutely brilliant. So you already knew each other and knew it was going to gel. Now, that brings us to something about the way you look tonight.
And you too.
Yeah. Great.
That's a drummer for you.
Great video. And tell us about it. Stevie, unless you want to nominate one of the others. Yeah.
Let me, I've listened to Elton John ever since I was a kid. And I liked a lot of it, almost every one of his songs I liked and listened to, and probably, if not all, but this song in particular stood out. And for me and for the guys, and we got a hold of the song, and we kind of reinvented the song, made it our own, put our own spin on it. And we got all that done to the studio, and Robbie Springfield and Stuart Epps of Elton John, legendary Stuart Epps, and Clive Franks and those guys, they produced it and then helped us put our own spin on the song. I let Bernie Taupin and those guys listen to it, and they loved it. So it was way cool, man. It was just the song to me. Our version of it is a song about how love is doesn't have boundaries. It's really all inclusive, and how we need to be looking at people more like people instead of just labeling people, and everything seems so. I mean, we just need to, as they said in the movie, what's the movie with the Martians? The Martian movie was, we just all need to get along. Remember? What's the movie I'm thinking
Mars
of?
Attacks.
Mars Attacks.
Mars
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about sort of successes like country chart successes or various charts? What sort of? I mean, I believe you've had some success that way. So do please tell the. I'll stick with Stevie. Then we'll throw a couple of questions at the other guys as well. But what sort of successes have we had? I appreciate it's only 2 years it's been locked down, but have we managed to hit a country chart yet?
Well, on this group, this is the first release we've had out as a group together.
Okay.
This one is the first.
Okay.
Prior to that, I've had a #1 record, and then I've had several top 10 records.
Brilliant.
And currently, there's been a resurgence because of this record of a couple records that I had out previously one called Put a Little Ketchup on It, and the other one called Good Time to Go Home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really cool. So I've been fortunate enough to do that. You guys have had records out, things too.
Well,
We got
it's
Rick
bucket
Mark on the
list.
end, is it? Hold on.
I've had a top 10 hit. Well, it wasn't me. I was the band I was with, Jimmy Collins band back in the 90s. We had a top 10 hit called Cowboy Rap.
Wow. That sounds
He's
fun.
First country rap song ever done.
gonna sing a bit of it for you right now.
I think you should. I think you should. I think I should burst through it. Yeah, go on. A bit of novelty never hurt anyone, please.
No, you're not gonna do
A
it.
cowboy rap, come on. Listen, what do you think?
Cowboy Rap. I like cowgirls with long skinny thighs.
I can't remember the words.
I can't remember it. It's been a long time. I played on it. Anyway,
It's a start. Do you want to join us? Do you want to join us, Sue?
See if I can dig it.
Sue, who I
You look proud.
co-present the show with, she's been helping with the technology as well. So she's going to join us. She co-presents the show with me. So that's all good. And then what we do, we have to go along the line. I will wait to sit down. I won't ask how you done in the country charts. Oh no, it's our first one. I won't leave that in, obviously. So yeah, they threw
Well,
me. I've got 5 of them. I thought I was only going to have.
I've had, all in all, throughout my entire career from '93 forward, I've had 17 charted singles.
Wow.
So I've charted a bunch of stuff. I've had several top, way back at that, Paul.
Didn't want to snub her.
And so I've had, and then with these guys, this is the first single that we've had out, first record we've had out together.
That's
And it turned out, I like the way, when you listen to it, it's a totally different take on the song, the way it was presented by Elton and Bernie. And
Yeah.
between all of us and all your folks out there, they liked the spin of it. They liked it because it's our interpretation of their writing. So it
That's
was
cool.
really cool. And I hope you guys out there and all your folks out there in UK and everywhere, I hope you enjoy it.
Absolutely cool. What I'm going to do, because I will edit it in different places, I think now Sue's joined us. I'll introduce you to Steve. Then what I suggest we do, we go from left to right, which as the guys are looking at this was right to left. So if I say, guys, this is Sue L.
Hi.
She does live shows and also co-hosts Chatterbox with me. And we do some blinding interviews, don't we? And they always come out so polished, don't worry. The guy in the middle is Stevie Lee Woods. He's
That's
the big boss man. And if we go from your right, so the guy on the end with the blue jumper, go along, say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and we go along with that, then Sue knows who's who.
Go ahead.
hi, I'm Lyman Clark.
Hi.
Hi, Sue. How are
Mark
you?
Boyd.
Hi, so it's Stevie Lee Woods, all the way from the United States of America in Branson, Missouri.
Hi, Sue. Oh, I'm kind of shy around girls, so I'm Paul Oney. Thanks.
And they put him at the back on the drums. So I think he's a bit...
On the drum.
And on the end, is it Rick on the end?
Yeah.
Rick
Yeah.
McEwen. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Scotch Irish name.
There you go. Perfect. So there we are. I'll try and get them all in the right order.
Hi, Sue.
So the new release is the very first. It's the very first one all the guys have done together, and they've done.
I was listening, darling.
Oh, oh, right. Well, how do you know what they were saying? I had headphones on.
Because you comment back about the.
I know. Okay, let's go and pick on somebody like is it Lyman on the end? Am I getting the name right? Perfect. Right now, you said you'd had yeah, that was the cowboy rap thing, wasn't it? I would like to see you guys do that as some sort of a novelty record in the future, like one of those summer hits that can get in the charts and be there for 5 or 6 months. One of those, you know what I mean?
Right.
But
It was
Lyman,
kind of an outlet too.
who actually influenced you as a kid?
Probably Elton John, of course.
Sure.
And
Yeah. What I mean, what inspired you about him? Is it the flamboyance, the
Oh, I liked his playing. I liked his singing. You know, and I loved Billy Joel when I was growing up. Loved listening to Billy Joel.
Yeah.
And
That's good stuff.
and who on here? The guy.
Leon Russell.
Leon Russell. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like Leon Russell too. So-
Mad Dog and Englishman. That's what I like.
Right.
Very good. Very good. Let's move along. Different question though. So we're moving along, and oh, that's not Mark, is it? Yeah, we're moving along anyway. And what would be the highlight of your career if you could play with anybody? Who would it be? Or if you could sing with anybody, who would it be?
Oh gosh, that's a hard question. There's a bunch of them.
You could have a multi answer. It's fine. I'm not going to put you down.
I wouldn't mind getting to play with Eric Clapton a couple of times.
Yeah.
You know, I really like that guy through his whole career. You know, I played a lot of country stuff though too. So there's a lot of country guitar players that'd be fun to work with. You know, so
Sure.
I don't know. That's a tough question. There's a bunch of them. Yeah, I like a wide variety of styles.
Me personally, if I had my choice, I've worked with some really big folks. I've worked the stage with Martina McBride and all. Those are some pretty big celebrities. And probably today, I'd like to let me think about it. You know, Gabby Barrett. Have you heard Gabby Barrett? I'd like to sing something. She's young. She's 20-something, but I'd like to sing something with her. And also, I'd like to go head-to-head and Elton John and I sit on a stage and sing something about the way you look tonight with these guys and his band. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
Call me, Elton. Call me. Call me.
Let's hope he listens, but he's not been on yet. Let's hope he's listening. He's got an open invite as well. Yeah, brilliant.
You be Elton, I'll be the John. Yeah.
Please can I ask the guys?
Ask as many questions as you like. I don't know what time they start their concert, but yeah, as many as you like.
I've got one question. What do you guys do when you're not singing? What do you do for fun?
For fun, write music, rehearse music. Let's say travel. But traveling. People think that traveling when you're entertaining is fun. And you guys in radio, you probably know this too. It's not that much fun. It's work. You go out there and you do your job and you go and do your thing. You don't really get to see anything when you're out there traveling as a band and group. You don't get to see anything. Like when we go to Europe, I've been all over. When we went to Europe, I did finally get to go. They took me down and we did Piccadilly Circus and all that stuff. And we did a lot of fun stuff. But when we were there performing, you didn't get to see outside of your hotel and back to the venue and leave. And the same thing here. So we had to take time to do stuff. So travel and, swimming and probably boating and things like that. You guys?
I collect stamps.
Okay.
Exciting hobby right there. Yeah.
nowhere to go but up from there.
And I hope for your sake you've got some of those valuable penny blacks and penny blues with Queen Victoria on. You know, I sincerely hope so. I think, I mean, yeah. Sorry, Carol.
I used to play tennis when I was a little more svelte, you know, but like Stevie said, like traveling, I really enjoyed when we came to did the Wembley Festival. They put us up at the Royal Garden right at Hyde Park, and we were in front of Kensington Palace there, and a couple of my buddies from Nashville. One of the ladies was with the Country Music Association, suggested, hey, let's go to the Thames at 9 o'clock at night. And I said, we'll call a lift, you know, and they said, no, let's walk. But little adventures like that, that's, you know, when you're on the road, you take them where you can. You like to do something that you know, well, we could go to McDonald's or we could go to the Thames, you know.
Nick, I want to share with both of you. I want to share something with you. This is just a fun fact that it's something that occurred to me when we went over to Europe first time. They didn't tell us how much. First of all, I got to tell you folks out there that I have found that the European audience is so receptive and they just really appreciate good artistry, music, and things like that. A little different. The United States appreciates it, but in a different way. They expect it. In Europe and everything, they take the artistry as for what it is, and it's art, you know, and so that's so much appreciated by us. But we went, and I think it's called Air Scotland. I can't remember. Air in Scotland.
Up on the left-hand coast, yeah.
Yeah, we did that, and they didn't tell me.
Yeah.
They didn't, we walked out, and I was with at that trip I was with Freddie Fender and Del Reeves and myself. They didn't tell us that at first they all dressed up in cowboy and Western stuff, and some were Indians, some were cowboys, and they were carrying pistol guns that were like cap guns. And they if they liked you, they'd fire these guns off. If they didn't like you, they would stay silent. When we were up there, we would get away.
Very good.
Bow, 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 bow.
Oh,
You never saw so many people. People were diving out from on the stage because where we're from, the United States, you start firing, people dive. And
we just think it's the Milky Bar Kid, don't we? You know? I think what a number of American artists have said to us on this show, and we could talk about guys that go back to the 50s, such as Charlie Gracie we've had on, Jay Siegel and Paul Evans. They when they've been to, they make the three of them very similar answers. In Germany, they have if the Germans like you, you're in. But apparently they're quite silent to start with. And the artists aren't so sure if they're going down okay or not. Apparently, if they don't like you, you do know. But what they do at the end of a set, or halfway through and then the end, they go absolutely berserk, shouting, jumping up and down and everything. And that's apparently all ages. But what they say about a British audience is an awful lot of American artists are bigger in the UK than they are in the USA. And apparently in the UK, even people like Odyssey have said that in the USA, you've got to try and reinvent yourself, do something new, whatever, you know. But in the UK, they want to hear that same show. So somebody in the UK might have heard you 2 years ago, or they hear you next year. They'd be quite happy for you to come in 2 years' time again and do the same show, because that's what they're wanting. I don't know if you've noticed that in your experiences with other, you know, being with other artists, but that's what those three guys have all said, and they go back to the 50s.
No, and I agree 100%. And you know, something else I want to say about all of the European people, folks, and these people over here, and I'm now any American folks listening, I love you too, and you know that, but I got to tell you that in Europe, they know how to throw down and have a party. You might say, not so much. Over there, when they're drinking and you're drinking a beer, right? Here we got 2% beer or whatever, 3%, 6% if you're lucky over there.
Yeah.
Boy, I never knew what a
Seven,
bitter.
12.
I never knew what a bitter was when it's warm. I never knew what it was. after party, the shows at the parties after show, party. They were some good ones, man. You guys know how to do it up.
Oh, the warmest, flattest beer in the world. You don't knock it.
Yeah, it's warm. Room temperature.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What about that story that young man told us about that they knew how they got on after it was clean up and them little puddles?
Oh, that's 1960s. It's different, but I will share this with you, just a personal story to you all. Big group in the 60s called the Trogs. I think they had some hits in the US as well. And at that time, when all the groups like the Foundations and the Fortunes and all these big groups were all they were still going around the circuits, like 2,000, 4,000 seat cinemas were having them on for one night and things like that, or big halls, big venues. And the managers and the members of the band used to judge how successful they were compared to others, and by the number of the puddles of wee there was on the floor for the girls. And that's so when you guys are doing that, you've made it, yeah?
You are a serious superstar.
We try not to leave a dry seat in the house. That's it.
Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? Hey, Nick, did you hear what he said? He said, that's when you try not to leave a dry seat in the house.
And that's before they went in, yeah. Very good.
We have a show that we have to do, so we're going to have to wrap up if we can.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sorry it was a bit late.
It's fine.
I'd love to do it again. So what I want you to do is, Steve, if you could give us your website, and I'll have a good look at that and add some bits at the end. So your website for all the British and audiences around the world, please, sir.
It is NashvilleRoadhouseLive.com. And
Perfect.
if you go to NashvilleRoadhouseLive.com, it's easy to find, or you can go to BransonStarTheater.com, which is the theater that we have here.
Perfect.
So,
And it looks
I love all you folks.
theater.
I know these guys do too. We love you all so much. Thank you all for having us on. We appreciate it very,
thank
very
you.
much.
And I apologise for being late, but it was a big problem. Cheers, guys.
We look forward to coming back. Thank you. Thank you.
You got the invitation back already. All right.
We'll be early next time.
I'll be in touch. Cheers, guys. And
Thank y'all.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Nick.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye.